Everyone, I'm here with 31 Days of Tarot, days 8 to the 14th. I'm doing them a week at a time, so like 7 at a time. Once again, thank you to Ethany for doing this again. She's done this for the past few years, and I really like it and seeing other people as well and seeing their answers. And it gets you to kind of think about your tarot practice, which I think is pretty awesome as well. So I have some notes here because I can't remember all the questions off by heart. So let's get going. So the first one is, question number 8 is, what tarot books did you read in 2019? So I read Everyday Tarot. I read Tarot for Troubled Times by Teresa Reed. I also read, I think it's called, I can't remember, it was the Biddy Tarot one as well. So those were the 3 books I read. I should have gotten them out. No, Tarot Inspired Life was the other. I read Tarot Inspired Life, Tarot for Troubled Times, and Everyday Tarot were, I think, like the 3 main sort of tarot books that I read in 2019. Out of them, I would put them as, I think I liked Tarot for Troubled Times the best. Everyday Tarot I'd put underneath. Like, I think it's good, especially if you're a beginner. I think that's a really good one to start with. And then Tarot Inspired Life. It's not that I thought it was bad. I just kind of got disinterested halfway through. I think it might be good for some people, but it just didn't really totally appeal to me. Question number 9, what is the most memorable reading of 2019? No names. I had a few, memorable readings. I do a fair amount of readings because I do have like an Etsy shop where I do tarot readings. I don't do a lot of in-person, but there are like friends and stuff, people I know that will contact me. And I did do an event as well where I did like quick 10-minute readings, and that was like a lot of fun. I think my most memorable one is I read for somebody, and I knew that they had a partner, and it started coming up in there that they were letting something go, starting something new, and that they were going to get like a proposal, that, there was like an offer coming up. And, I just, I tell people what the cards see, but part, I think, of the drawback of knowing someone is I thought, oh, this means that their current partner is going to like propose to them. I mean, that's not what I said to this person, but I did say that there's going to be like a proposal that's coming up, and it's a romantic proposal. Well, it turned out the letting go was the partner, and then they got a new partner who is, they've moved in with. So it's interesting how that plays out. So we might think in our minds that it's one way, but the cards know better. The cards know better. So that's another one that reminded me that, always trust what the cards say because they know best. Number 10. What decks do you want to reconnect with in 2020? So one that I started reconnecting with in 2019 and I'm going to continue to work with in 2020 is my Mythic Tarot. So this is one, it's got the blue backing, not the black, but that doesn't matter. The black was from the 90s, I think, and then the blue was the 2000s, but it does have the original artwork, which is what I really care about. I've been using this one in readings just for me, and I plan to continue to do that into 2020. This is, like I said, it's a deck, I think it's from the 90s or the 80s, but it's a classic. I really love it, and I'm looking forward to kind of doing more and more readings and reconnecting with this deck. Question 11, what's your favorite High Priestess card and why? It's actually from this deck. I'm going to see if I can find it. I probably should have pulled it out beforehand. But this deck, if you're not familiar with it, is based on like Greek/Roman mythology, which, because I work with astrology a lot, which is also based on that, I really enjoy working with this particular deck. But the High Priestess is one where she's just like my favorite High Priestess. I think she really just sort of embodies the High Priestess and the mythology behind it. So here we have the High Priestess. It is Persephone. I love that she's got the stairs going down into the underworld, which to me really symbolizes that descent into like our inner world, our subconscious, our intuition. And then you've got the black pillar and the white pillar here that you see on, traditional sort of Rider-Waite High Priestess cards. Instead of the curtain, we've got these beautiful stairs, and then there's this garden back here. It's just sort of this intriguing, like, what's back there and how she's gone, like she's descending into the darkness. And then you've got the flowers she was picking falling at her feet, and she's holding the pomegranate. And I think this is just a really lovely, wonderful High Priestess card. And it's usually the one I think of right away when somebody talks about the High Priestess. So I do really love that one. Divinatory tool number 12 that you use the most outside of tarot. Now, when I do readings for people, I accompany tarot with Lenormand. So I have to say Lenormand is the divinatory tool I've used the second most. This is also astrology as well, because I also do astrology readings, but I do those separately from tarot. Like, I tend to not combine them unless I'm reading tarot for someone. They're going through, let's say, a lot of changes, and I say, oh, well, if you're this, or I know their chart, I'll say, oh, well, that's because this is coming up in this house or whatever it is. So I might throw a little astrology in there if I know the astrology of the person while I'm doing tarot, but I tend to do like tarot readings and then astrology readings. But when I do tarot, I combine it with Lenormand. So that's one I've definitely used a lot and will continue to use a lot as well. Number 13, where would you like to be with tarot in 10 years? Well, I would love to still be doing this. I'd love to still be reading for people and, doing YouTube videos or whatever the platform is in 10 years. Who knows where that's going? But I would love to just keep doing this. And of course, I do this, I read for myself and for like family and friends. So I want to continue to do that. So basically, I just want to keep doing this. And it'd be nice if I could get to the point where I can like quit my day job. Because right now I'm doing it part-time, which is great. But, it'd be nice to slowly shift towards that. And number 14, do you have any tarot tattoos, art, or decor in your house? No, I don't have a lot of. I have like a couple tattoos, but they're not tarot related. I have lots of decks in my house. They're sitting around everywhere, but I don't have any like particular like tarot artwork up on the walls, so to speak. I think it's really cool when people have tarot tattoos. I always take note. I remember I was watching some ghost show. It's a newer one. They're like ghost hunter. Oh, they're all ghost hunters. But anyway, I noticed one of the guys had the magician tattooed on his arm. So I always like totally take note when people have tarot tattoos, because I'm like, that says something about them for sure. You can get a lot of information from which tarot tattoo they pick. If I had to pick a tarot tattoo, I think I might get the High Priestess. I don't know if I'd get that design particularly, but I might get that because I think that is one of my favorite cards, and I think it's symbolic of, what I practice, like as far as like tarot reading, astrology, and witchcraft and all that stuff, all about using your intuition. That's for sure. So those are my answers for questions 8 to 14. I'll be back next week with doing number 15 to number 21. I've been loving seeing other people's tarot, 31 days of tarot videos as well. A reminder, I do read tarot. I have an Etsy shop, which I'll link to below. This month I'm featuring the Year Ahead Mega Reading, which does both the 12 houses as well as the 12 months of the year. It's like an hour-long reading and gives you tons of information about the year ahead for you. So if you're interested in that, you can click on below. Otherwise, I'll be back next week, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you especially to my patrons for helping me with this and allowing me to just, do more content and do more things. You're so appreciated. And I love you all. And as always, peace and love and rock.